Is Avalanche ready to skyrocket? Well, we're going to take a look at that today, and let's see what we've got here by looking at the daily chart for Avalanche. You can see on the daily chart we had this fantastic run up back in October, November, December from a low of somewhere around 9. Went almost, we basically increased 500%. A modest gain over 2 months. 500%. One of the best performing coins out there, especially with the market cap that Avalanche has. So we went basically from 9 to 50 in about 2.5 months. Now, we did have some pullback like most crypto in January as Bitcoin kind of suffered a bit. You went from, let's call it 50 rounded off, down to about 27. So you really lost about 45, 50% of its value in about a month and a half, and that's never fun. You never want to see that. But then once you've had a run up of 500%, you've got to expect something. But things have definitely changed with the Bitcoin push that has been happening in February, and now Avalanche finds itself at a very peculiar level of right here. 43, let's round it off to 43. It's an art, not a science. It's not exactly spot on 43, but I've got a line right here for 43, and it's because there is a wick right here, top of the week, or excuse me, top of the day right here, bottom of these days. My point is, you can see just by glancing through here, there was no algorithms or algebra or trigonometry I had to do. I just glanced at the price and put a line there. You can see that price reacted around this line traditionally, this 43 level. Okay, you can see where price reacted. You'll see highs, lows, wicks, closes, things like that. That gives you that clue. Let me go back and see if it reacted historically. It's kind of hard to see on the daily chart. Let's go to a weekly. Spread this back out here. Here's the 43 level. Here's the line I'm looking at. It really had no bearing here. It just blew right through it. Not really. I mean, it did have a top of a week here, a wick here, a wick here. So it's held some historical importance over the last few years, but definitely it has some importance now, as we've seen in December and January. So we're at that level right now. Okay, we've gone up and hit 43. Kind of bounced off, and we're kind of looking to close or moving down a little bit, but that could change in a matter of an instant. We need to close above 43. We need to close above this level here, get a nice good close to set us up for a move higher, which is of course is the goal, to break 50 and move on to bigger and greener pastures. Okay, and as long as Bitcoin keeps doing what Bitcoin has been doing, right? And we've all been watching Bitcoin and seeing what it has been doing, there is a chance that could happen very soon. Now, one, I want to talk about Bitcoin and what it's doing. Two, I want to talk about and show you an example of what could happen to Avalanche here literally any day. Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin going up right now? Well, here's a clue. It has to do with all the money coming in from the ETFs that were approved back in January. This is a tweet from yesterday. This is not mine, by the way. This is a Pompliano guy, and he's very well known in crypto. There was $631 million of net inflows to the spot Bitcoin ETFs yesterday. That is 14 times more demand than the network produced in the same day. I don't think people understand the magnitude of what is happening. This is basic supply and demand. If you're trying to sell something that you have one of, and immediately when you put it on the market, 14 people show up to buy it, guess what you're going to do with that price? You're going to raise it. Why? Because there's 14 people that are willing to buy it right now. Why not see if you can get more money for it? That's what's happening in Bitcoin. He had another tweet. BlackRock has raised $5 billion in their spot Bitcoin ETF in the last 5 weeks. For context, 80% of Bitcoin in circulation hasn't moved in the last 6 months, which is very interesting. Why would you sell Bitcoin? This is saying of all the Bitcoin supply out there, only 20% of it has moved, has been bought or sold in the last 6 months. 80% of it has stayed in the same dadgum wallet that it's been in, which makes sense. So BlackRock has sucked up 2.5% of all tradable Bitcoin in 5 weeks. When you're talking about sucking up 2.5% of a $1 trillion market cap um, financial instrument and doing that in 5 weeks, yeah, that's sucking up a lot of supply. So as long as the demand is here, 500 million, 300 million, 600 million dollars of inflow coming into these Bitcoin ETFs every day through February, as long as the demand is there, price is going to keep pushing up. See, what was my point there? Oh, I was talking about ADA. Oh, yeah. Avalanche. I wanted to show you an example. So ADA is kind of at its own point. It's got a level it needs to break, very much like Avalanche. It needs to break this 0.60. And yesterday I made a video about VET where it needed to break its level. And its level was down here. This is the daily chart around 0.035. And I said, look, we need to break that level so we can set up for higher highs. And then VET did this. And it has gone up. VET has gone up about 40 to 50% in the past 2 days. It did break its level and take off dramatically. Now, is that going to happen to Avalanche if it can break this 43 level and close above it? I don't know that it definitely will. I don't think anybody can say, yes, it'll definitely increase 40% tomorrow. I don't think that's the point. The point is any altcoin worth its salt, which Avalanche certainly falls into that category, is a candidate to be picked up at any time over the next few months and blast off. And you won't know when it's coming. You won't know what day it's coming. You won't know why it came. You just need to be in some of them, because if you're not in them, you won't experience any of those gains. So if you are an Avalanche, stay. If you're in whatever coin you're in, be in something, or you're not going to be in the game. You got to be in the game. I happen to be in the VET game, and one of the games I'm in. And like I said on my VET video, I was woke up in the middle of the night by my young kids. And like the degenerate that I am, as they were trying to get back to sleep, I picked up my phone and said, hey, let's look at the crypto prices to see what's happening. And I literally sat there and watched for an hour or two as VET broke through the 0.038, 0.04, and eventually got all the way up almost to 0.05 before falling down later in the day when I actually was able to fall back asleep. So personal story there. But my point is, if you're an Avalanche at any point, you could get a run like that. It may not happen today, may not happen tomorrow, may not happen in February, may not happen until Bitcoin retraces a bit and then perhaps goes into this halving, and then it may happen sometime after the halving. But at some point, altcoins are going to run, and it may be yours, and it may be Avalanche. So that's my update on Avalanche. Long term, you are doing absolutely great. Stay in it, stay where you need to be. And let's watch this price together, because at any point, Avalanche could take off and away it could go and have its own 20, 30, 40, 50% day. And that'll be a good day for you. All right, I'll watch with you. Y'all be careful out there and have fun. This is a fantastic time to be in crypto.